Hey guys, and welcome to a new Dungeon Defenders 2 video. I'm your host MrPeter, and I'm very happy to announce the Lava Mancer build. The Lava Mancer is my favourite hero in DD2, so I'm excited to present to you the fun build. For the Lava Mancer, on every gear you want to go ability power, and for your weapon you want either a medium or a heavy type style that has ability power. The reason why I'm going ability power is because of the Lava Mancer's ability, Molten Core. Molten Core is a lava ball that can be punched forward, blasting and dealing splash damage. You can have multiple lava balls on the field. The more you have, the more fun you're gonna have. Also, Molten Core scales with ability power, hence why I'm going ability power. Let me explain why we're using these three mods. Ability power chip. This gives us flat ability power stats, exactly what we need. You can use ability buff chip, as the Lava Mancer's stances Harden and Inflame are considered as a buff, but I like to keep it simple with ability power chip. Healthy AP chip, as long as we have 90% of our health, we will always get the bonus stat from the mod. And lastly, Tenacity. When you have Tenacity, you're immune to slows and stuns. However, assassins still can latch onto you, but at least you can fight back by using your auto attacks and your spells. With the Lava Mancer though, it's a different story. You can go underground and never have to deal with them, which is insane and hilarious at the same time. However though, in order to make this work, Tenacity must be a 10 out of 10 on all of your gears, so before you upgrade, get those 10 Tenacity to get 100% immunity from assassins. And lastly, on the chest, I have snakeskin armor. It provides a lot of hero health, plus you take reduced damage. The Lava Mancer is going to dive into the action, so this mod is definitely going to help us to survive. For the weapon, I have Earthen power chip. The biggest issue with the Lava Mancer is his mana sustain. He has 0 mana regen, and he uses a lot of molten power in quick succession. This mod allows us to gain molten power when he's underground. Really good stuff. The next mod is Piercer. This is very important. Geodes and shield goblins are anti-projectile. They're extreme counters to the Lava Mancer, as they can reflect the lava ball back to us and even kill us with it. You must have this mod. And lastly, I have Frosty chip. Just like our towers, we ourselves want to deal bonus percentage damage. The Lava Mancer's abilities are fire damage, so he naturally deals double the damage to frost enemies. Plus with Frosty chip, they get deleted within seconds. I solely use the Lava Mancer for frost enemies. However, if you want to main the Lava Mancer, I suggest using melee chip instead. It's more universal, and half the enemies in the game are melee, so you can damage a larger audience than a specific group. Now let's talk about the shards. For the helmet, I have twice as bright. If you guys didn't know, when you erupt, you give nearby towers defense power and defense rate for a short period of time. Really good against frost enemies. With this shard, you increase the defense power by 82%, but you cut the duration down to 6 seconds. 6 seconds isn't that short, and 82% extra defense power is beautiful. I personally think it's worth the Gambit. You can find the shard in Chaos 7. Inspiration. This reduces your ability's cooldown. We want to activate Harden and Inflame as much as we can because of a shard coming up soon. I'll talk more on that later on. You can find the shard in Chaos 2. And lastly, Power of Embermount. This increases the amount of molten power you gain by 52%. Very misleading, as this only affects fissures. Unfortunately though, the Lava Mancer really needs the mana sustain, so this will have to do. You can find the shard in Chaos 8. However, if you're not using the fissure, you won't benefit from this shard at all, so instead you can use mana capacitor for the extra chunk of mana. You can find the shard in Chaos 7. For the chest, I have a Let's Rock. Activating Harden or Inflame grants you a shield, and it scales off from your hero health. With the help of Inspiration, we can drop the cooldown to 3 seconds so we can constantly refresh the shield. And with the help of Snakeskin armor giving us the extra health, that shield is going to be tanky, basically an additional health bar. You can find the shard in Chaos 4. Superconductor, this reduces the cost of your abilities, definitely needed. You can find the shard in Chaos 8. And lastly, Mage Gambit. Mage Gambit gives you more ability power, but you take increased damage. It's definitely worth the trade. 58% is a lot of ability power. You can find the shard in Chaos 7. For the gloves, I have Molten Core Power, Batter Up, and Molten Striker. All three will improve Molten Core's damage. Molten Core's power increases the damage in general, Batter Up increases the damage every time it bounces, and Molten Striker increases the damage the further Molten Core can travel. All 3 are needed and there's no situational shards. You can find the shard in Chaos 6, you can find the shard in Chaos 2, and you can find the shard in Chaos 1. For the boots, I have Speed Boost, self-explanatory, you can find the shard in Campaign or in Chaos 1. Submerging Speed, this increases your movement speed while submerged. This stacks with Speed Boost. Together you gain an insane amount of movement speed. It's incredible. You can get to point A to point B extremely quickly. Some may argue that you have too much movement speed, but I'm addicted to being fast. You can find the shard in Chaos 8. And lastly, Radiant Critical Power. This gives nearby towers crit damage and crit chance. Synchronizes really well with Eruption. Really good stuff. For the weapon, I have Radiant Power. Increases nearby towers defense power by 14%. This stacks with Eruption and synchronizes with Radiant Critical Power. Again, really good stuff. You can find the shard in Chaos 8. Lava Warrior, it's a form of mana sustain, but most of the time you'll gain it from Earthen Power Chip. But because the Lava Mancer really needs the mana sustain, I'm going to keep it. You can find the shard in Chaos 2. The last shard is situational, but I've gone for Punkinator. This shard has 2 parts to it. Part 1, it pumpkins the enemy and helps on wave clearing, and it scales from ability power. Part 2, gives melee heroes more crit chance. Crit chance does affect our abilities, so Molten Core is going to crit almost all the time. You can find this shard in Chaos 8. Like I said, this shard is situational. You can have a Lingering Core to increase the lava ball's lifespan. The current lifespan is 12 seconds, so this will extend it to 22 seconds, a very long time. You can have Burning Strikes for the Drakenlord. You can also have a Lava Floor. When you erupt, you leave a lava field on the floor that scales from ability power. There's probably more shards that you can use, but I like these 3 shards. For your Ascension, put your points onto Harden and Inflame's duration. Then you want hero health. We have a lot of ability power from our gears and mods, so we need the health to survive. Once you've maxed out hero health, then you want to put your points onto Molten Core. On the utility tree, put your points onto, you've guessed it, Molten Energy. Honestly, his mana issue is that bad. You start off with 100 mana and Eruption costs 80. That's majority of your mana gone. And Molten Core costs 40, so you can't even use both abilities at the same time. So max out Molten Energy first to get that extra 100 mana. Then you want movement speed. After that, the rest is up to you. All the stats are nice to have, but for the Lava Mancer, mana and movement speed is the most important one. This tree is very small, so you will eventually get all of them. It's just down to your preference. For the Lava Mancer's bread and butter combo, you want to spawn at least 3 lava balls. 2 is the minimum, but never have 1. If you have time, add a 4th one. When you're ready, shield up and punch away. Yeah, realistically, we will never deal that much damage to a single target, but to a wave, that's very possible. Molten Core has the potential to deal a lot of damage because of its functionality. Naturally, it deals damage every 0.5 seconds, but most of the damage comes from the splash damage. Every time it connects or bounces off a wall, it splashes damage, so when you have multiple lava balls in the field, it can splash damage everywhere, dealing a lot of aerial damage. Last thing to note, you need to understand his stances. Harden increases your resistance, so you take reduced damage, and Inflame gives you movement speed and hero damage. Now every time you switch stances, you gain a shield thanks to Lex Rock. This can save your life, so remember to constantly switch stances to refresh your shield. If you love table tennis, dodgeball, or even squash, you will love the Lava Mancer. His Molten Core ability is super fun to use. He may be terrible against flyers, but on the ground, he's a monster, ready to scorch anything in his path. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did enjoy this video, hit that like button and subscribe for more DD2 content. I'll see you guys next time. Take care.